The Galactic War Academy stood in orbit around a dying blue star. It was not a place for children. It was a place for future conquerors. Every empire in the galaxy sent its strongest young warriors there. Only the most powerful species were accepted. Strength, speed, natural weapons, advanced technology, those were the things that mattered. This year, something felt wrong. A new name appeared on the entrance list. Human. Many students laughed when they saw it. Humans are small. They depend on machines. They are soft. Whispers spread across the massive arrival hall as ships docked one by one. Reptilian giants stepped out in heavy armor. Insectoid warriors clicked their sharp claws. Massive stone-skinned aliens carried glowing plasma weapons across their backs. Then a small transport ship arrived. No battle marks. No royal symbol. The door opened. A single human stepped out. He wore a simple black academy uniform. No armor. No visible weapons. No fear on his face. His name was Daniel Hayes. The alien students stared down at him. Some smiled in amusement. Some looked annoyed. One reptilian warrior leaned toward his friend. He will not survive 1 week. Daniel said nothing. He simply walked forward, calm and steady. The great hall doors opened with a loud metallic sound. Inside, thousands of seats surrounded a central platform. At the top stood the alien principal. He was tall, covered in silver-layered armor that looked grown, not built. His eyes glowed cold white. His presence alone made even strong warriors stand straighter. When he raised one clawed hand, the hall became silent. "Welcome," his deep voice echoed, "to the Galactic War Academy." He paused, scanning the room. "You were chosen because your species believes you are strong." Pride filled the hall. Then his glowing eyes stopped on Daniel. "But strength," he continued slowly, "creates dependency." Murmurs began. "This academy will test your true ability." He stepped forward. From this moment forward, a new rule is active. The air felt heavy. No weapons allowed. Shock moved like a wave across the hall. Several students stood up in protest. "What? This is a war academy. Our weapons are part of us." The principal's voice cut through the noise like a blade. "Silence. Instant quiet. You rely too much on your tools. Plasma blades. Neural rifles. Shock cannons. Without them, you are nothing." Many students looked uncomfortable. The principal's gaze moved again to Daniel. "And some species," he added coldly, "are known to hide behind weapons more than others." The message was clear. Humans. A tall armored reptilian spoke loudly. "Without weapons, the human will be useless." Laughter filled the hall. Daniel finally looked up at the principal. Their eyes met. There was no anger in Daniel's face. No shame. Only calm. The principal tilted his head slightly. "Do you object to the rule, human?" The entire hall waited for the answer. Daniel shook his head once. "No, sir." Simple. Respectful. But then something strange happened. He smiled. Not a nervous smile. Not a weak smile. A small, confident smile. The principal narrowed his glowing eyes. "Very well," he said. "Your first evaluation begins tomorrow. Combat simulation. Physical engagement. No weapons of any kind. Any violation will result in immediate removal." Excitement returned to the hall. Many students were eager. They imagined crushing the human easily now. As the assembly ended, groups formed quickly. Strategies were discussed. Muscles flexed. Claws clicked against metal floors. Daniel walked alone. A massive insectoid blocked his path. "You should leave now," it hissed. "Without weapons, humans are prey." Daniel stopped. He looked at the creature calmly. "Maybe," he said quietly. Then he stepped around it and continued walking. The insectoid felt something strange. It was not fear. It was uncertainty. From the balcony above, the principal watched the human disappear into the corridor. Something about that smile bothered him. Most students were angry about losing their weapons. Most were afraid. But the human? He looked comfortable. The principal turned away slowly. "Interesting," he whispered to himself. Because what no one in that academy understood, yet was simple. Humans did not rely on weapons. They built them. They studied them. They mastered them. And when necessary, they became them. The next morning, the arena lights burned bright. The combat dome was a massive circular chamber made of dark steel and energy shields. Thousands of students filled the upper levels, waiting for the first physical trial of the year. Normally, this test allowed full combat gear. Today, it was different. No blades. No plasma rifles. No hidden tech, only body and mind. The alien principal stood high above in a control chamber, watching everything. His glowing eyes focused on one figure standing alone on the arena floor. Daniel Hayes. He stood relaxed, hands behind his back. Across from him were 3 opponents. That surprised many students. 3 against 1, someone whispered. The answer came quickly. Humans are weak. It makes it fair. The first opponent was Zorvok, the massive reptilian from yesterday. His muscles were thick as steel cables. His claws were natural weapons. He did not need technology to kill. The second was a tall insectoid female named Krixa, fast and sharp. Her species was known for speed beyond most scanners. The third was something worse. A stone-skinned brute called Torvak. 8 feet tall. Heavy enough to crack the arena floor with one step. The crowd buzzed with excitement. Daniel looked at all 3 calmly. The horn sounded. Zorvok attacked first. He moved fast for his size, claws slicing through the air. But Daniel did not try to block. He stepped sideways at the last second. Zorvok's claws hit nothing. Krixa rushed from the right, low and quick. Daniel bent slightly, letting her speed pass him. He used one hand to guide her arm. Just a small movement. She lost balance. Torvak charged like a living tank. The ground shook. Daniel did not run. He waited. 1 second. 2. At the last moment, he dropped low and rolled forward. Torvak could not stop his own weight. He crashed into Zorvok. The arena floor cracked. Gasps filled the dome. Daniel stood again. Still breathing slow. Still calm. Now all 3 aliens were angry. They attacked together. This time faster. More violent. Claws, fists, heavy strikes. But something strange happened. Daniel was always 1 step ahead. He did not look stronger. He did not look faster. But he understood timing. He used their size against them. Their weight against them. Their anger against them. Zorvok swung wide. Daniel stepped inside the attack, hitting a pressure point on the reptilian's arm. Zorvok's claw went numb instantly. Krixa jumped from behind. Daniel ducked and twisted her leg midair. She landed hard on her back. Torvak tried to grab him. Daniel allowed himself to be caught. The crowd gasped. But then Daniel shifted his hips and pulled down with perfect balance. Torvak, the giant, flipped over Daniel's shoulder and slammed into the ground. Silence. Complete silence. 3 of the strongest students were on the floor. Unarmed. Defeated. Daniel did not celebrate. He simply stepped back and waited. The shield lights turned green. Match over. The crowd erupted, not in laughter this time, but in shock. That was technique. No weapons. No enhancements. The principal leaned forward in his chamber. His eyes were narrow now. This is not raw strength, he murmured. It was training. Precise. Disciplined. Controlled. In the arena, Zorvok slowly stood up, breathing heavy. You fight like you have claws, he growled. Daniel shook his head slightly. No, he replied calmly. I fight like I don't need them. The words spread through the arena like fire. Up in the stands, something changed. The human was not prey. He was not lucky. He had entered a battlefield with predators and moved like the most dangerous one of all. As Daniel walked out of the arena alone, the whispers followed him. For the first time, the alien students were not laughing. They were watching, carefully, and high above them, the alien principal felt something unfamiliar. Concern, because this was only the first test, and the human had not even looked serious yet. The third trial was not about fists. It was about war. The students gathered inside the strategic command chamber. It was a massive room filled with floating holograms of star systems, fleets, and planetary defenses. This was where future generals proved their worth. Strength meant nothing here. Only the mind mattered. The alien principal stood before them. Today, he announced, you will command a simulated war. The room became silent. You will be divided into 2 armies. No advanced superweapons. No planet killers. Only standard fleets and limited resources. Several alien students smiled confidently. Many of them had studied war strategy since childhood. Some species were born with natural tactical instincts. Daniel stood quietly near the back. Teams were selected. Zorvok, still bitter from his defeat, became commander of one army. He quickly gathered the strongest species around him. Power wins wars, he declared loudly. We strike first. Strike hard. On the other side, fewer students stepped toward Daniel. Some hesitated. Some still doubted him. But a small group joined him, mostly smaller species, less physically powerful. The simulation began. Stars filled the chamber. Two digital fleets appeared on opposite sides of a virtual galaxy. Zorvok attacked immediately. His fleet moved like a hammer, heading straight for Daniel's strongest planets. "Overwhelm them," he ordered confidently. But Daniel did not panic. He studied the hologram carefully. He noticed something others ignored. Zorvok's fleet formation was aggressive, but predictable. Daniel gave his first order. "Retreat from Sector 7. His own team looked confused. "We are giving them that system?" one alien asked. "Yes," Daniel said calmly. "Let them take it." Zorvok's fleet captured the empty sector easily. The crowd watching from the upper levels laughed. "The human is afraid." But Daniel's eyes stayed focused. He gave another order. "Divide our fleet into smaller units. Hide behind asteroid fields." His team obeyed. Hours passed in simulation time. Zorvok pushed deeper and deeper into Daniel's territory. His forces grew spread out. Then Daniel made his move. Cut their supply lines. Small hidden fleets attacked transport routes. Zorvok's ships began running low on energy and fuel. Confusion spread across his command. "Why are reinforcements delayed? Where are our supplies?" Daniel gave another calm command. "Engage isolated units. One at a time." His fleet did not attack directly. They attacked smartly. Ambush. Disappear. Ambush again. Within a short time, Zorvok's powerful army was fragmented and disorganized. Anger filled Zorvok's face. "Face me directly," he shouted toward Daniel across the chamber. Daniel simply replied, "War is not about pride." Then he launched the final phase. A coordinated strike on Zorvok's command ship. Cut off from resources and surrounded by smaller but organized fleets, Zorvok had no options left. Simulation over. Victory. Daniel Hayes. Silence filled the chamber. The weaker species on Daniel's team stared at him with new respect. "You used us perfectly," one of them said. Daniel shook his head. "No, we used each other." High above, the alien principal watched carefully. This was not luck. It was not brute force. The human had sacrificed territory to win control. He had turned weakness into advantage. He had studied his enemy's ego and used it. After dismissal, whispers followed Daniel again. "He fights without claws. He wins without power. He thinks like a predator." The principal stepped into the empty chamber once the students left. He replayed the battle simulation. Again and again. Each move was calculated. Patient. Ruthless in logic, but not cruel. The principal finally understood something dangerous. Weapons were simple. Claws were simple. Strength was simple. But the human mind, that was complex. And complexity was far more difficult to defeat. As Daniel walked down the silent corridor alone, he felt eyes watching him from the shadows. Some were curious. Some were impressed. Some were afraid. Because now it was clear. The human was not just strong without weapons. He was dangerous without them. And the Academy was slowly realizing a terrifying truth. The rule had not limited him. It had revealed him. The Academy was quieter after the strategy trial. No one laughed at the human anymore. But silence did not mean acceptance. It meant resentment. In a dark corner of the lower training sector, Zorvok stood with Torvak and Krixa. Their defeat in the arena still burned inside them. The simulation loss made it worse. "He embarrasses us without even trying," Krixa hissed. "He hides behind tricks," Torvak growled. Zorvok's yellow eyes narrowed. "Then we remove the tricks." He opened a hidden panel in the wall. Inside was something forbidden. A compact plasma blade. Weapons were strictly banned inside the Academy. Every student had been scanned upon entry. But some species always found ways around rules. Krixa revealed a small shock emitter from her armor plating. Torvak simply lifted a heavy metal rod he had stolen from a maintenance area. "No one will know," Zorvok said coldly. "We will say he attacked first." Late that night, Daniel walked alone toward the meditation chamber. He preferred silence before sleep. It helped him think. The corridor lights flickered. He stopped walking. Slow footsteps echoed behind him. 3 shadows appeared. Zorvok stepped forward, plasma blade humming softly in his hand. "You win in games," Zorvok said. "Let us see how you win in reality." Daniel's eyes moved from one weapon to another. "You are breaking the rule," he said calmly. Krixa laughed. "Rules are for the weak." Torvak rushed forward first. The metal rod swung hard toward Daniel's head. Daniel stepped inside the attack instead of away from it. He grabbed Torvak's wrist and twisted sharply. The rod slipped from the brute's hand. In one smooth motion, Daniel kicked the back of Torvak's knee. The giant collapsed. Krixa activated her shock emitter and lunged with incredible speed. Blue sparks filled the air. Daniel grabbed the fallen rod and struck the emitter midair. Sparks exploded as the device shattered. Krixa screamed in pain as the energy backfired into her own arm. Zorvok roared and charged, plasma blade cutting through the air. The humming sound grew louder as the blade came down toward Daniel's shoulder. Daniel moved forward instead of backward. He grabbed Zorvok's forearm just below the elbow and turned his body sharply. The plasma blade passed inches from his face. Using Zorvok's own strength, Daniel drove his elbow into the reptilian's throat. Zorvok choked and stumbled. The blade slipped from his grasp. Daniel caught it midair. He did not activate it. He simply held it. The corridor lights turned red. Alarm. Security drones descended from the ceiling. The alien principal appeared at the far end of the hall, flanked by armored guards. His glowing eyes took in the scene. 3 injured students. Weapons on the ground. The human standing in the center, holding a plasma blade. Silence filled the corridor. Zorvok tried to speak. The principal raised one hand. Enough. His gaze moved to Daniel. Did you bring this weapon? Daniel slowly placed the inactive blade on the floor. No, sir. The drones scanned the area instantly. Energy readings confirmed the truth. The weapons had been hidden by the aliens, not the human. The principal walked closer. His heavy armor echoed with each step. You broke the Academy's highest rule, he said to Zorvok and the others. Zorvok lowered his head. Torvak avoided eye contact. Krixa said nothing. The principal turned to Daniel again. You could have activated the blade, he said quietly. Daniel nodded slightly. Yes. But you did not. No, sir. Why? Daniel's answer came without delay. Because if I needed it, then I would not deserve to be here. The corridor felt even quieter than before. The principal studied the human's face. No pride. No anger. Only control. Medical team, the principal ordered. Remove these 3. As the injured aliens were taken away, whispers began spreading through the academy faster than light. The human had defeated armed opponents without using their weapons. The principal stood alone with Daniel for a moment. You are different from what we expected, he admitted. Daniel gave a small, calm smile. With respect, sir, he said softly. You expected the wrong thing. The principal watched him walk away. And for the first time since humans entered the stars, an ancient alien leader felt something he had not felt in centuries. Not anger, not doubt, respect. Because the rule had been tested. And only one student truly understood it. The one who did not need a weapon. Because he already was one. The final trial was announced 3 days after the corridor incident. By now, the entire academy had changed. The laughter was gone. The whispers were careful. Some students avoided Daniel completely. Others watched him with open curiosity. A few, quietly, began to respect him. The alien principal stood once again in the central hall. This will be your last evaluation, he declared. It will determine who among you is fit to command fleets and lead empires. A hologram activated behind him. A red symbol flashed across it. Emergency scenario, internal uprising. Murmurs spread. In this simulation, the principal continued. You are not fighting an enemy outside your borders. You are dealing with rebellion inside your own territory. Civilians involved. Infrastructure at risk. Limited military force. Many students frowned. This was not simple combat. This was complicated. You must end the uprising, the principal finished, without destroying the world you are meant to rule. That part made several alien students uncomfortable. Destroying was easy. Controlling was harder. Teams were assigned randomly this time. Daniel was placed in command alone. A test. His hologram came alive. A major colony world was in chaos. Armed rebels had taken control of major cities. Military bases were surrounded. Panic spread across the population. Most commanders began by launching heavy strikes. Orbital warnings. Shock troop deployment. High force suppression. Daniel did none of that. He leaned forward slightly, studying the data. Show civilian communication lines, he requested calmly. The system obeyed. He noticed something others ignored. The uprising began near industrial zones. Food shortages. Work disputes. Broken supply chains. This was not pure rebellion. It was frustration. Open public broadcast channel, Daniel ordered. The observing instructors exchanged looks. On screen, A simple message appeared from Daniel's command. "We hear you." That was all. The simulation AI reacted. Rebel aggression paused slightly. Daniel redirected military forces away from city centers. Instead, he protected hospitals, water facilities, power stations. Then he sent drones carrying food and medical supplies into rebel areas. No weapons, just aid. Other commanders laughed from their stations. He is being soft. He will lose control. But then something changed. The number of active rebels began decreasing. Civilians started turning against the violent groups. Rebel leaders lost support. Daniel used small tactical units to arrest only confirmed violent commanders. Precise, controlled, no mass destruction, no wide bombardment. Within simulation time, the uprising collapsed. Casualties, minimal. Infrastructure damage, low. Population stability, restored. Simulation complete. Victory. But not through fear. Through control. The hall was silent. Zorvok stared at his own results. He had won his scenario too. But half the city was destroyed. Civilian losses were high. Torvak had crushed the uprising within hours. By leveling 3 districts completely, the principal slowly walked toward Daniel. "You chose not to show dominance," he said. Daniel met his glowing eyes. "Dominance creates the next rebellion," Daniel replied calmly. "You chose patience." "Yes, sir." "You risked appearing weak." Daniel nodded once. "Strength is not loud." The words hung in the air. The principal turned toward the students. "For generations," he said, his voice echoing, "we believed power meant overwhelming force." He looked at Daniel. "This human has shown another path." He paused. "A weapon destroys. A leader decides when not to." The hall was completely silent now. The alien principal stepped down from the platform and stood in front of Daniel. "For the first time in Academy history," he announced, "a human will graduate at the top of the class." No one objected. No one laughed. Because now they understood. The human had defeated strength with skill, ego with strategy, violence with control. Daniel stood straight, calm as always. He did not celebrate. He did not boast. Because for him, this was never about proving humans were stronger. It was about proving something far more dangerous. Humans did not need weapons to win. They built them when necessary. They mastered them when required. But their greatest weapon was always the mind that chose how to use them. And that weapon could not be banned. It could not be confiscated. It could not be disarmed. Because the human was never carrying it. He was it.